Alison Rosen. Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her the good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy fancy dance again. Alison Rosen, Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Alison Rosen is your new best friend. I'm sitting here in my studio. Now, Daniel Quantz, my husband, was here mere moments ago because he's on this episode. However, something was going on with my throat, so I sent him inside because I saw a TikTok which said that when singers are having phlegm problems, not to disgust you, they eat potato chips. And they also apparently drink gummy bear tea because something like the glycerin and the gummy bears. But I'm not having him toss some gummy bears in a cup of hot water, although maybe I should have. But anyway, I sent him inside to bring back potato chips, which I will then attempt to coquettishly eat off mic to see if it helps my throat. But anyway, this is like the fourth time I've said hello and it sounded congested and weird. But yeah. While we wait for Daniel with chips to arrive, I'd like to remind you, if you like the show, or even if you don't, please make sure to leave us a comment, a review, if you will, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. It helps the show. Tell a friend, subscribe, rate, review. I started the show without you, honey. It does feel, well, it's Thursday. You got to get on mic when you got this important, trenchant, cultural commentary. No, you're eating the chips. Are you eating them for? Oh, Daniel claims he's phlegmy too. All right, and he also said the chips are stale. They are going to hear murmurs of this gold, and they want to hear it on mic. Now, I promised I was going to coquettishly eat them off mic, so now I got to lean back. Lean on in there and say hi while I see if this does anything, or if this is just an excuse to eat chips.
What has she been telling you guys while I was gone? See what I mean?
Are you hearing them?
No, we can't hear them, but can you see how they're a little bit stale?
They're a little rubbery and soft.
Stale is the word that we use for that.
When I hear of stale chip, I would think like, what's an interesting question?
No, it's not.
Because it is a little bit, because I had a stale, listen to me, I had a stale donut hole the other day, and it was like very thick, THICC, and chewy. Mm-hmm. Really stood up to my teeth. Mm-hmm. It was no pushover. It wasn't a, soft, crumbly donut hole. It was like, right. Was this a donut or was this lavash? To use a reference everyone gets. And so a stale chip, does that become soft? Because I would think maybe it becomes even harder and like loses flavor.
Are you an alien? Have you never had a stale chip? Hi, welcome to planet Earth. Trying new things. Like stale
I need to
chips.
take a moment with them. You don't listen. Okay, so just now he asked me, would you ask me if I'm an alien?
Yeah.
But before we started, he said, and I quote, did they model Sorry, can't even get it out. Did they model Goofy after you?
Yeah.
What was I doing that was Goofy-esque?
Nothing. I was doing an imitation of what you sound like to me, and it sounded like Goofy.
And what had I said?
Is this going on the air?
Yeah, we're going.
Good Lord.
I don't know that these chips are helping. I feel like it's actually making it worse. I'm just going to try a few more.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the physics of it are supposed to be.
Well, something about the grease and the salt, I don't know. Again, this is advice for singers, not podcasters. No. And the other thing,
sing the rest of the podcast?
Yes. The other thing is that Beyonce or Ariana or whoever it is who does this, evidently, and I already told them this, is a little bit of a retread for them, drinks gummy bear tea. And that is where you take hot water and you drop maybe Gaga does this, Lady Gaga. You drop a few gummy bears in there, and that's supposed to really like soothe your throat too.
Oh, because it's like the
glycerin. And then I was like, do they mean gelatin? Because again, I got this info from TikTok, but I guess there is glycerin in gummy bears.
Speaking of glycerin, Bush just played in L.A. I didn't know that they were still around. I guess they're headlining Coachella.
Well, now I have a mouthful of chips, but did you want a round of applause for that segue?
Yeah.
Woo! Tony, lay in some applause. Woo! Good job with the Gen X reference. Woo!
Can you guys sense the hostility? It's like,
You
what?
called me goofy, and then you called me an alien. You called me a goofy
But that was
alien.
loving.
Mm-mm.
Goofy's hot, honey.
Who's the hottest Disney character?
Daisy.
Mm.
Daisy Duck.
More than Minnie.
Oh, yeah.
Make the case.
She's got that thick booty, you know? She's got that, like, badonk.
What kind of booty does Minnie have?
You see, the fact that I can't even think of her booty is, you know.
Are you really a butt man, or do you just say that because I'm like boobless?
No, I love a good butt.
But with your girlfriend before me, suggesting that I'm your girlfriend, who we know was well equipped in the front region, and by that I mean she had ginormous knockers.
Come on.
She had huge knockers. That's what you said. Those are your words. I know you never said that.
Do we want to? I don't. Okay.
I know you don't want to go there, but just real fast. Did she think you were a boob man? Are you?
I don't know.
Are you a body part chameleon?
Listen, I love the female form in all of its various forms. Listen, I just went for a jog, and it's like, 82 degrees.
Yeah, and you're a little bit sick. You're crazy.
I'm a little sick, and
our son has
I thought it would clear
oral
my head.
surgery tomorrow, so we got to
I thought
talk
it
about
would
that.
clear my head, and instead, it made me stupid. I feel really like
dumb?
I can't. Yeah, like I'm not sharp right now. It's weird. Maybe I got heat stroke or something.
Your insistence on exercising even when you're under the weather is noble, foolhardy. I don't know what to call it.
This is what you have to understand. At my age, at my advanced age, you can't afford to take a day off. It's like when I was in my 20s. I've
taken like a year and a half off.
Well, case in point. But
there's so many tiny chip fragments still in my mouth. I'm having a miserable time. Please go ahead.
When I was in my 20s, I was a runner, and an exerciser, and I could take weeks off and come back to it. And, with like lifting weights, I wouldn't lose, and I could lift the same. With jogging, I could pretty much go the same distance. But now, if I take a few days off, it's like the drop off is so extreme. That's what age does. You don't have the whatever it is that keeps your body. It's like you're like fighting an uphill battle. Yeah. It's just increasingly more uphill the older you get. And so I just feel like if I can exercise, then I will. But,
well, here. Can I just tell you about what's going on in my mouth?
There's crumblies?
It's, excuse me. It's more than that. So people who listen every week know we have a can, like a little tin of chocolate-covered coffee beans in here.
I had to brush my teeth before coming out here. That's what took me so long. I didn't really brush them, but I just ran a toothbrush over my teeth because it was like full of like coffee grounds.
Yes. So I had a few of these. So already there's like coffee grounds in my teeth. And now there's chip crumbles. I could probably I'm like halfway to composting in my mouth. Just drop a couple worms in there, an eggshell, and I think we're good to go.
We're going to have composting soon because we're going to put in a garden. What should we plant?
Things that won't attract things we don't want.
But right. So we could plant tomatoes and then like deer might come to eat the tomatoes.
Right. We do want that. But Owen won't come because he doesn't like tomatoes. And Allie Ward because she doesn't like them either.
We'll do jalapenos.
For real?
Jalapenos, cilantro, and onions.
All the things that no one likes.
No, I don't know. We could do strawberries and peppers and
Bananas. I like where your head is at with all this. My concern is just a garden full of fruit. I feel like just attracts the little critters, and then suddenly you're just like, the critters are cute, but I don't know.
what kind of critters?
What kind are cute, or what kind do
of
I not
critters
want?
do you think we'd get?
Oh, all the critters. I mean, all the ones that we already have, though. Rats.
No, I think you put a thing
possum.
over it. You protect them with like chicken wire or something. And then you'll see squirrels with their arms like reaching through,
Yes.
like trying to grab it.
Right, or like
They
trying to
just
get a
can't.
stick, or asking their friend who has longer squirrel arms to get in there.
Right.
There's something interesting that I was going to say, and unfortunately I've forgotten it. And so now, I know.
But
Interesting is a little bit over promising.
well, it's all relative on this show.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So listen, I mentioned that Elliot's having oral surgery. Now, did you know that you are my guest on our Patreon friend zone this week?
No.
Well, you are. Congratulations.
What do
Tony, play like an air horn or something.
When are we recording that?
Well, ideally it was going to be after this, but I can tell that's not going to be happening. So it'll be next week.
Okay.
So anyway, I have solicited questions.
Great.
And one of the questions I know ahead of time is what's going on with Elliot's oral surgery. So here I am just giving it away on the main show. But maybe you get more details on Patreon. Patreon.com/Alison Rosen. If you're going to subscribe, I would recommend doing an annual subscription and getting 2 months free. What a deal. Okay, so he is having surgery tomorrow. It's more like a procedure than surgery, but it is technically surgery. One of his grown-up front teeth can't come in because there's an extra tooth blocking its passageway. So they have to take out his front tooth, which is like fused to the one next to it. So this guy is
It's a tooth.
long on
situation.
teeth,
Yeah.
but not in the way that like, oh, long in the tooth, you're old, because he's young. But I just mean he's rich tooth-wise, full of teeth. This kid's full of extra teeth.
Yes.
So he's got a fused front tooth, baby teeth tooth. So they're going to take that out. They may take the lateral one next to it out. And then they got to go in and take that other alien tooth out.
Is the other one a baby tooth?
It's neither baby nor adult. It's like it's a little bit deformed.
It's like a teenage tooth.
I don't even know this like a human tooth.
Ooh.
I mean, it is.
Okay.
But it's smaller. It's smaller than a grown-up tooth. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, they're going to get that, and he will be under anesthesia. He was very sad. He's been a real trooper throughout this whole process of like going and having the consultation, and he told me he feels brave. And when I explained to him that he's going to have an IV, he was a little nervous, but seems okay with that. But then today, because I got the instructions today, I told him that he can't have anything to eat or drink after a certain time, and he started crying. Were you there for that?
No, but having his evening food is important.
Well, he can have that though. It's only after 3 a.m. that he can't have anything to eat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but and this is different. The anesthesiologist said he can have water. He can't have any water. He has to stop water. So sorry. For some reason, I cannot articulate this, even though it's very straightforward. No eating or drinking 6 hours. Sorry.
Good Lord.
Blah, 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 blah. No eating 6 hours before. So food has to stop 6 hours before, which is 3:10 a.m. And then after that, he can have water, though, and water has to stop 2 hours beforehand, which that has never been the instructions I've received. It's always been no food or drink 8 hours before. And I'm sure for you it was the same. This is like a new thing where they are allowing liquid sometimes, like just water. So what I think is making him sad is that he can't have breakfast. I think he's going to be fine. He doesn't wake up ravenous or anything. One time when I was having, I don't know which procedure it was. It must have been an egg retrieval. And based on the time, it was like I had to stop having anything at 5 a.m. Or 4. So I set my alarm, got up and drank coffee and then went back to sleep because I knew I was going to want the coffee when I got up.
Oh, smart. You have that coffee right in the middle of the night.
It helps me. Remember how I used to insist?
You could keep it in your extra stomach, so it has that delay.
Do you remember when I used to insist that caffeine doesn't affect me? Meanwhile, I drank caffeine the entire day, like more coffee than anyone should be drinking, and I couldn't sleep at all, but I didn't associate these things.
Well, I would try to explain that to you, that it might have an effect, and you would say, no, it's not that. It's not that.
I couldn't sleep.
You had a cup of coffee literally an hour before bed.
And then I could not sleep. I could never go to sleep. Right. And I couldn't stay. Well, actually, that's not true. Going to sleep was okay. I couldn't stay asleep.
Right. But do you sleep through the night now?
No, but that's because because you snore.
Yeah, I do.
Like a lot.
Well, lately, I can't even breathe.
Yeah. Don't say that like we're supposed to feel sorry for you. So you snore. And then also, I wake up to pee frequently. But I don't, ever since having kids, I haven't had trouble sleeping. Like I would say I'm kind of always tired.
Are you awoken by the feeling you need to pee? Is that what happens? Or do you wake up and go, oh, hey, I need to pee? Like which?
It seems to be the latter. Because then I sit down and it's not like a tidal wave or anything. But I have had a dream. Have you had dreams where you pee in the dream or poop in the dream? Those are sort of upsetting.
Oh, sure. Often when I have those kinds of dreams, it's like the toilet is not in a private area.
That's what I mean. Yeah, if it was just a dream where like, oh, I'm in Bloomingdale's, I'm going to go use the ladies' restroom. No. That wouldn't be upsetting. It's always like, oh.
I'm in a cabin. I'm at a party. Of people here. Yeah, I'm at a party and the toilet is like in the corner or in the middle of the room or something. Like, yeah. That's always fun.
Do you have recurring dreams?
Well, I have recurring types of dreams. Like I have recurring motifs or whatever. So not motifs, that's not the right word, but like,
Tropes. Symbols?
Yeah.
Probably symbols.
One of them is like, well, lately it's, I am in college and I think a lot of people have this dream. I'm in college and I'm enrolled in a class that I haven't gone to in half a semester. And I've just been blowing this class off and I'm like so behind and I feel like, should I, and there's this thing of like, should I go and try to catch up or am I just going to be fucked because I haven't gone? Like it's this feeling of there's something I needed to be doing that I'm not doing, which actually now that I think about it makes a lot of sense. And then, the poop dream, like having a toilet in a public area. Oops. Sorry. I don't know. What about you?
I have that college one a lot.
Yeah.
And it's always like I'm close to graduating and it's not always that. It's that like I forgot that I was supposed to be going to this class. And then when I realize it, it's a feeling, for me, it's a feeling of guilt of like, I should have been on top of this, but I just decided to like not pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And then I forgot about it and now it's going to catch up with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I've been irresponsible in tending to my obligations or something. And then it's like, and I always feel like, I feel guilty and I feel bad. Like I'm a bad kid. Like the teacher's going to be mad at me or like there's no way I can fake it. Is it about missing out on an important like phase of development or something? Because
it isn't for me, but it could be something different for you.
Yeah. I just remember my first therapist said that like if you miss out on a stage of development, you will have to go back and go through it or something. I don't even know what she was talking about, but like everyone goes through all the stages of development.
I have lots of airport dreams too. And I love the way my brain invents airports. They're always so bizarre.
Like how?
I don't know. They're hard to describe them. I mean, I can remember two I've dreamt of recently. One was like, it was almost like a small town airport with lots of wood paneling and kind of like each, what would you call it? Like gate as you went through was sort of like ad hoc. Like it looked like they just built it onto itself. And then there was another one that was like massive. It was almost like Las Vegas casino, series of these giant rooms and elevators. And, yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Well, last night, and then we'll move on from dreams. Last night, I had a dream that there was a famous young adult author named, and I can't remember, it was either Sharon Yob Jacket, Yobb, or Sheila Yob Jacket. And like famed, like gothic young adult novelist, Sheila Yob Jacket. And I woke up after the dream and I was like, Sheila or Sharon Yob Jacket, like that. And I was like giggling to myself in my half awake state. Like that is the funniest pseudonym or funniest dream name. I've got to write that down because this is gold. And then I was like, but I'm too tired to write it down. I'm just going to trust that I remember it when I wake up. Because I barely got a wink of sleep from that moment until the morning because I was so afraid I was going to forget it. Every time I woke up, my first thought was like, do I still remember it? Do I still remember it?
Wow. You really thought it was
I was really pleased with Sharon Yob Jacket. No, I still think it's funny. I mean, not as good as it was when I was asleep, but come on, Sharon Yob Jacket.
Sure.
It's so weird.
I had a similar sort of experience recently where I dreamt of a segment that I would do on your show.
Oh, I like hearing that
like
kind
March
of innovation.
Madness. So this sounds so like hokey now in hindsight, like hokey.
Or do you have
morning
cliche
radio
dreams?
type of thing? But it's like March Madness bracket.
Was it Tournament of Rosen?
No, of TV theme songs.
Oh, I feel like that's been done before. I feel like it's a good idea.
I'm sure it's like, that's what I say. It's like, sounds like such a standard,
right?
You know,
it's good though.
Jib jab in the morning kind of thing. But I thought, oh, that'll be great.
What do you think would win? I mean, there's some good ones, like Greatest American Hero is pretty good.
I suspect that if I dove in, we could find some that you haven't thought of that are really good. Like they're the ones you think would be the winners because you just know them. But back in the day, there were some pretty good ones.
Elliot was doing something on his iPad this morning, and so he wanted to, is Joe DiMaggio, does he play basketball? And I said, no, baseball, which is rare sports trivia for me, you know. So it was asking a lot of questions about people that he didn't know who they were and what was going on.
He has this trivia game, and it's all stuff he wouldn't know.
Yeah. So then he said to me, what's a gopher? And I said, oh, that's a character from a show called Love Boat. Well, wait, it's also an animal. What do you, what's the context? And he said, is Tiger Woods a gopher? He's saying a golfer.
That's cute.
I thought it was cute. Should we listen to a call? And then I need to tell you that I've received a lot of mail from people who need me to share something with you.
Uh-oh.
I bet you don't even know what it is.
Great.
These calls are going back a little bit now. So you'll just have to try to remember what they're in response to.
Okay.
Gilly runs out here in South Dakota. I was listening to your show, and you were talking about theater superstitions, and not saying that, leaving the light on, not wishing each other good luck, all of this. And I was remembering about 6 movie theaters in a row. I remember this from years ago, there were dog prints in the concrete outside of the theater. And it was so common that I had to start thinking maybe that was actually a superstition thing, that you would let a dog walk through your wet concrete when you put up a new movie theater. Has anyone ever heard of this before? I've tried Googling it and didn't get anywhere, but there was just too many movie theaters with dog prints in the concrete for it to be a coincidence after a while. Anyone else heard of that? Dogs walk through your concrete? Anyway, Lee Bruns out here in South Dakota. Take care of them.
Thanks, Lee Bruns. You know, I have never heard of that or noticed that, but it's interesting. Are people purposefully walking there, like putting paw prints in concrete? I've never left my mark on concrete, wet concrete.
Either that or there's just a lot of strays in South Dakota.
Right, but it doesn't sound like it's... Well, he's saying dog prints. I'm not picturing like the trail of dog prints. I'm picturing like 2 prints, or 4.
I guess if someone
question.
is placing the paws
Right,
in there, like the Hollywood Chinese theater with the hands, you know, that's different than just a dog walking.
Right, then like, a Chihuahua walked that way.
Right.
Talked that way. Give me a kiss.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I'd need to know which it is. If it's just them walking through the concrete, I would suspect maybe there's just wildlife or, dogs in the area. And it doesn't mean anything?
Because he says out there in South Dakota, and you're thinking it's like the wilderness, which is what I'm picturing too.
Have you been to South Dakota?
No, have you?
It is lightly populated.
Have you been there?
Yes, I have.
Well, for work?
No. When I was in the boys' chorus, we went out all over the country. And, but if they were placed there, that's a different thing.
And it makes you wonder,
if they were
did the
placed
dogs
there,
consent?
it could also just be like whoever in the area. It could be the same construction people doing it all, and that's just
construction. It might be a
that's
tell.
like their signature, of their work.
But you can probably pay extra to have it removed.
Right, like
that's like their watermark.
Right.
Do you guys like when I take a sip of a drink and then I swallow into the mic? It's very professional, I think. Daniel, there's something I really wanted to tell you.
Oh, God's sake. This is never good.
It's not bad.
Okay.
And I wanted to tell you during the call, but I decided I'm going to...
Was there a booger on my nose or something?
No. It's funny you say boogers because I have like a little zit on the edge of my nostril.
Oh, those hurt. I hate that.
It actually doesn't hurt. It appeared overnight.
Yeah.
And I just, maybe I'm making way with it. Anyway, I just wanted you to know I'm not picking my nose. I'm picking at my nose zit. It's totally different. It's totally different. One is respected. Okay. Got another call.
You were going to tell me something. Oh, that's what you were going to tell me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, Alison, and it's Daniel. This is Iva from Chicago. My just me or everyone is it just me, or is the fact that somebody's face doesn't match up with their voice really something that bugs me? Or is it everyone? This is Viva from Chicago.
When someone's voice doesn't match up with their face, does it bug everyone?
I'm trying
It's
to think.
rare
I feel like
that
it
people's-
has, but I'm trying to think of when it has.
People are usually surprised that I'm dark haired. Like they assume that I'll be blonde, which I don't know how to take that.
I wish you were blonde.
I don't know how to take that.
Just kidding. Yeah, I feel like I've had that experience, but I cannot think of when.
Thanks for your contribution.
Well, you spring the
Hi,
show.
Alison and Daniel. This is Viva from Chicago. I have a just me or everyone. Is it just me, or
I know you think I'm playing the same call, but I'm not. He has a different one.
Okay.
whenever I fart, or when anybody farts, I see little molecules coming out of their hind regions, because that's what it really is, right? Farts are molecules. This is Viva from Chicago.
That seems so deep. Farts are
I
molecules.
don't, but there was a video where somebody
Like a thermal camera or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
and I don't know if that was real, but it was hilarious. No.
All right. So
Although
here,
I'm often surprised by how quickly a fart
A
can
scent.
travel.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because someone can be across the room and fart, and within seconds you're smelling it.
not always though. Sometimes, and does it have to do with like barometric
Maybe.
pressure?
I don't know.
What's
If you're
going on? Because
any scientists out there, you let us know.
yeah, or gastroenterologists.
I don't feel like they would know.
You're right.
We need meteorologists.
Did you know that I took a class called Physics of Music when I was in my senior year of college? Nope, my junior year, because my friend Jeannie, who was a senior, was in it. And it was very hard. I thought it was going to be a way to fulfill my math requirement that wasn't hard, like chemicals in the environment, which was incredibly easy. It's very hard.
I took a class called musical. Who was it? Something. It was like musical
Heroes.
somethings of the world. It was basically like,
Cultures?
yeah, you learn about all the different musical traditions
Okay.
throughout the world, and it was one of the fucking hardest classes.
What's hard about that? Mine, Physics of Music, is hard because there's a lot of math in it.
So
Yours just sounds like memorization.
No, because mine, even though it was a general ed class, required an understanding and knowledge of music that I didn't have. It particularly rhythm, because so many musical cultures, musical cultures of the world, so many musical cultures are rhythm based, like the gong music or these things, and have exotic traditions of rhythm that are different
Time
from
signatures? Is that what you mean?
I don't think they all have time signatures.
Okay.
Like it can get very complex.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like for me, I was just like, and you had a bunch of music majors in the class who
Oh,
all
wow.
understood it.
Yeah.
So I was really lost a lot of the time in that one. That was tough.
Well, I'm sorry. I took a class called...
No, but mine was harder.
Yeah, mine wasn't hard. I took a class called folk music and something, and it was like about protest through music. So when I was a freshman, and I performed the song "Strange Fruit." Do you know this song?
Oh, yes.
With my
You performed
acoustic
it?
guitar. Yeah. Why do you feel that I shouldn't be able to perform that song?
I mean, it's not usually performed by, or you don't usually hear it performed by a
Well,
pale-faced Karen like you. Usually, it's like Nina Simone.
well, I mean, it wasn't like performing it, at Carnegie Hall or something. It was
Honey, you were
performing it in a
woke before
classroom.
woke was the
Well,
thing.
the whole class was woke. It was about folk music as a form of protest.
Sure.
But anyway, point is, at that point, I had been in a band.
Did you cover like union songs? Union songs can be fun.
I remember like talking about ranchero music. I'm sure we did union songs, but I feel like it was just different.
Well, no,
forms of-
ranchero. What is the Mexican music genre where it's like a story? I'm blanking on what it is. There's a type of
Folklorico?
song where they're what?
Folklorico?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Where they'll it's like a narrative.
I don't know. But anyway, maybe it wasn't all music as protest, or maybe this was just a section on protest music. I don't know. But anyway, the point is, I had a very specific strident strumming style. I was not good. Oh, wait a minute. This is before I was in a band. What am I saying? I hadn't been this was like 5 years before I was in a band. 4 years before I was in a band. And at this point I wore, do you remember the flammable skirts?
No.
So these were popular in the mid 90s. It was just a big skirt made of very flimsy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a band.
No. It was a skirt that many people wore. Made of
Flammable?
they were flammable. Yeah, it turned out they were flammable. I never went up in flames or anything, but they were like very gauzy material that was very crinkly, and it was like kind of like a long skirt. So I'd wear like a long skirt, a long shirt.
I've never seen you wear a skirt. Oh, I guess when you were doing the shows, you'd wear skirts.
That was different than this. And so like a long flowy skirt, a long shirt, some kind of long necklace, and then either clogs or Birkenstocks. And I remember this
That's a
guy.
look.
It was my look.
Yep.
It was my look. And I remember, and also there was a lot of cobblestone on Pomona College's campus.
You were clippity-clopping all over
I
the
was
place.
just hoofing it up and down the quad. But clogs on cobblestone is like asking to pitch yourself forward. And I'm surprised I didn't knock a tooth out. It was uncomfortable.
And you're not the most coordinated of...
I'm the least coordinated.
Coordinated fillies out there.
I'm the least coordinated filly. Like,
Yeah.
is there a horse that is clumsy?
Well, you.
Right. So anyway, I remember this guy, Kenny, saying, who didn't go to our school, saying, "You're a hippie." And I was like, what? No, I'm not. But obviously I gave off a real hippie vibe
Okay.
with my Birkenstocks. I was just a college student.
Sure.
So anyway, just picture this, whatever I was, sitting there with a guitar,
Singing Strange Fruit.
not a good voice, but a lot of confidence. Not a good guitar player, but a lot of confidence, just honking away in
Right.
class. It's truly embarrassing. Like, I was just like, for this project, I will sing Strange Fruit.
You chose it.
And I don't think you had to perform a song. I don't know what you could have done, but I just was like, this is what this class needs. My rendition of Strange Fruit. I'll practice twice.
So when you finished it, did the class
They
react?
wept.
Did they react like they did need it?
I think it scratched an itch, sure.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know the song Strange Fruit,
Look it up.
it's not about fruit.
No, it's
a metaphor.
it's a serious song. I mean, it's like a very moving.
It's about lynching.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
like
I think I really leaned into the moving part of it.
yeah. Anyway, well, that's look. I feel like everything I did before a certain age was cringe.
Yeah, same.
Like every single thing.
Yes.
So
Is that's a just me or everyone? Like, ugh,
I know
about so much.
Every memory I have is like, oh my god, I can't believe what was I thinking? Everything. So,
What's the most? Can you give me just an example of one that comes to mind?
no.
Did you do fencing?
I did.
Is that
fencing.
a cringy memory?
Yes. Well, I did fencing because there was a girl that I had a crush on who was
Star?
doing fencing. No, not Star.
Carly.
Carly. I've told you this story.
But I'm not remembering it.
And so Carly was doing fencing, and so I was like, I'm kind of interested in fencing. I'll do fencing, and then we'll have this activity we do together. She was so crunchy. She was such like this
Did she have a big
outdoorsy-
skirt?
No,
Oh, different kind of crunchy.
She was she was like outdoorsy and just real like crunchy. She's the type of person that nowadays you would
like
see,
like a park ranger.
like if she was that age now, or she's in her 20s now, she would be like on Instagram talking about her off-grid life, living in a van. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but anyway, I took fencing, and you had to buy a cup. This was the cringiest part of it. Well, no, maybe not the cringiest. I had played baseball, and I don't think I ever wore a cup. Like, it was like weird. I don't think I ever wore a cup.
Does everyone wear a cup or just the catcher?
We didn't.
My brothers did baseball, and I remember they had cups.
Yeah. So I.
It was the Arizona thing.
Yeah. So I went and got one, but I didn't know exactly how to put it in or anything. So it was just like really awkward. It just felt like I felt
Wait.
like, you know, those images of like Henry VIII where he has the giant like cod piece.
Well, you say you didn't know how to put it in. Is it not symmetrical? Like, what are the options here?
No. There's like the underwear that you wear with it.
So it's a jock strap, right?
Right. Like I wasn't sure if you were supposed to insert it in the pocket or if you wore it on like the whole thing was so confusing to me. So that was all. I felt very weird and uncomfortable wearing that. And then I was such like a tortured romantic kid because I was like, you know, I was like, okay, it was like Valentine's Day, I think. And I was like, I'm going to write her a poem, you know, or a card. I painted a rose. I painted a rose and I wrote like a little, I don't know if it was a poem exactly, talking about how pretty I thought she was.
Aww.
And we were friends. Like, it wasn't like she didn't know who I was or anything. We're friends. We'd sometimes like our group, she would eat lunch, whatever. And I remember after the fencing class, I ran up because she was getting in her mom's like minivan or whatever. And I said, here, this is for you. And she said, oh, thanks. And then she didn't talk to me again for like until the next year. Like, and like that, even then.
Like she actively avoided you?
Oh, yeah. That was it. She just completely, the physical equivalent of ghosting. That's what it was. It was just like, I found that miraculously she was never around me anymore.
Oh, and did you want to die?
I did a bit for a little while. I got over it, but it was like, I was embarrassed and confused. But I think that like, I don't remember the embarrassment and confusion as much because I kind of look back on it and see more like how awkward it must have been for her. As an adult, I can see like, oh yeah, like she didn't know, like this kid, she didn't know what to do with that.
Right.
You know, it was such a forward gesture, way more than, especially if she didn't know that I had a crush. Like, it was just like, what the fuck, you know?
But was there a like, will you go out with me? Yes, no.
No,
Like,
it
was
wasn't.
there
There
any
was
sort
no-
of call to action in? No, just about how pretty she was.
Yeah.
What were you hoping would happen?
You know, I don't know. I think it's funny because like my whole notion of how that stuff works was based on movies. And so in movies, there's always the grand gesture, you know, and it's like the declaration of your feelings is always met positively in movies. And that is just like such bad messaging for young men, for young boys. Yeah, that is not how you're supposed to do it.
Would you advise someone young to let someone know how they feel?
Yes, but you got to do it in a way that isn't going to freak them out. You know, that's the thing. But the grand gesture is like, if you've already had a relationship maybe, and you're already like have developed something between you, that it could maybe be like a thing you might do. It's kind of like you could do a grand gesture when you're proposing. But if it's a situation where you've got a crush on somebody, you're not gonna catch that fish with, you know, I don't know,
honey,
whatever it is. Like, it's just not you're gonna scare it away. Like, right. You scream and yell from the boat and hope that the fish sticks around. The fish freaks out and moves away. Like, especially young girls, like they don't, you know, they're not like ready yet for that kind of like intense thing from a dude, you know. And I don't know, like you have to make them want you a little before you go charging it.
Right.
There has to be like maybe fishing is not a bad metaphor because it's like you kind of like when you're fishing.
Yeah, you got to be cool in the water.
You let the bait with bait fishing, you let it like sit there.
As opposed to what? Fly fishing?
Lures or fly fishing. And when the fish eats it, you don't just start reeling it in because you could just rip it right out of their mouth. You let them swallow it. So you give it a minute. You let them take it. and then you gently lure it, and then you give them some line, and then you take, and then it's like you don't just that energy is the energy that like I had, and so I'm sure I freaked a lot of girls out with that energy because I just didn't know how to play that, like how I couldn't understand the psychology from the other side of it. I could only think from my own point of view and how badly like I wanted to go out with the girl or whatever. And, it's just like also very confusing.
Do any young people innately know this, or does it have to be a learned trait? Because it feels so unnatural to be not,
Yeah.
Except,
totally.
and eventually you get there, or I did at least.
Did
but
you?
I don't know, probably not. But I mean, I wasn't faking it at that point. I really was like, I am happy on my own, and I don't want to like, I am the one who controls my mood. I don't want to give that away. And every time I've like been in a relationship, it's not gone well. Every time I get a crush on someone, I kind of like give my power away. And I'm fine being on my own. I'm like working on myself. So if I was like cool at that, cool is the wrong word, but like if I seemed not eager at that point, it's because it was real. I was never able to fake being cool.
Fake being cool?
I was never able to play games well. I was never able to pretend. I was never able to play hard to get, I guess is what I mean to say.
Oh. I think that I think you can't be too hungry, or at least you can't want it too much. Because that
seems desperate, and it seems
but it's also like nobody likes that,
right?
Nobody wants to be with someone who's like
wants to be with them a lot,
who's really hungry for a relationship with them. Like it's like because no one is. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's number one. You don't want to be. So if I was giving advice to young men, I'd be like, you gotta like not be so thirsty, right? And then you also have to have a sense of your own worth and your own attractiveness, and know that they could be attracted to you, and that doesn't require you putting on a pose. It doesn't require you. In order to be attractive, you don't need to like be, I don't know, pretend to be something you're not. Mm-hmm. That you're enough. And in fact, if you do that other thing, that's a turn off generally. And just be confident and then genuinely have interest in the other person. And that's kind of it. Like if you. And then try to understand when they're attracted to you, and don't try to push it. Like if they're not attracted to you, like don't try to make it happen. I mean, you can be around them and everything, but like Carly, she wasn't into me. Like there. Yes, I did freak her out.
If she had been, the card wouldn't have turned her off.
It may.
I don't know.
Maybe
still
turned her off, but like, I don't think there's anything I could have done to attract Carly. It wasn't until later that I figured out, like, oh yeah, like when you vibe with a person, that's when you need to like then make those moves. Mm-hmm. But you got to see if there's a vibe there. You got to see if there's like chemistry here. If there's
you thought there was with Carly, right?
No, I just liked her. I mean, we were friends, but there was never any kind of. But I mean, I was like 15, 14 years old. Like, I had no experience with having that kind of vibe. I think the only person I ever vibed with was like my own family. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even vibe with my own family. Like, had I vibed with anybody ever? No. So
did you vibe with your best friend? You must have vibed with him.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but it's like, so I wouldn't. I had no experience. Whatever. But getting back to the original, like everything like that is a cringe.
I'm thinking about telling someone that you like them. I think I might do it. No, I'm thinking about it in the past, having done that. And 100% of the time I did that, it did not go my way. But I don't regret having done it because it always kind of pushed me to the next thing. Because I grew up in a family that was like, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not gonna, it's like, you're going to feel bad afterwards. It's not, I think that my parents were kind of realistic about like probably this situation I was telling them about, like this probably that your feelings are not returned, and it's like, once you do it, then you're like in a one down position. There was always this like one up, one down. Have you heard that? You've heard that before, right?
No, but I can imagine what it means.
To be one up and one down. There was a book called One-Upmanship, which I think was a joke book, actually. But my dad was big into like one up,
And what did they mean by that?
You have you have the advantage on someone. If you're one up, you have the advantage. If you're in a one down position, you're in like a subservient sort
but
of.
How does that apply to?
If you have feelings for someone and you tell them, then they have power over you.
That is some real insecure.
Oh, I know.
Nonsense.
Yeah. I know. I've talked to my brothers. My brothers have shared some like dating advice that my dad had given them, and it's like even more. Like I got the like sanitized for the gal. It wasn't sexual or anything, but I'm saying like I got an even watered down version of that, whereas my brothers got a more potent, like you always want to keep the upper hand, like kind of. Yeah, it's the opposite of someone who says, just be yourself and it'll work out. But anyway, so despite...
It's kind of what I just said.
Yeah, like despite growing up despite like receiving the advice that if you tell someone how you feel, it's a mistake. My sister and I both did it more than once, right. And it never worked out for us. But in retrospect, I don't regret it because I do think there's value in being strong enough to handle finding out whether someone returns your feelings. I think in general, if you have to let someone know your feelings, they probably... I kind of think like if two people like each other, it's going to just work out. So I don't know that you have to like disclose your feelings to someone, but I also think there's value in saying, hey, here's where I am. Do you return my feelings? And if not, be like, okay, move on.
Yeah.
You disagree?
No, I agree. I think that like everything before a certain age, though, like when we talk about feelings,
right? I mean,
it's just lust. It's just like,
yeah,
it's infatuation. It's something that is it's flimsy and it's
ephemeral
and it can change quickly. So I think part of the thing is like someone may be attracted to you, but that feeling of attraction could go away if they find out the other person likes them a lot.
Yeah.
Because suddenly then it's like, oh, well, now
it's grody.
Well, now it's not unattainable and I want the thing that's harder to get. Like, so that stuff is just, it's complicated. I don't know. Like, I think certainly you shouldn't feel bad about anything you've done, but I also would wonder like, yes, but the guys that you, I'm assuming they were guys, that you professed your feelings for, like those guys they may have, through the selective process of your own dysfunction, have been have been guys who wouldn't have been inclined to respond well to that. They may have been rejecting. It may have
probably, for sure.
So
yeah, no one I liked was truly available. That's why I had to say it.
For me, it was like there were girls that had mad crushes on me, and I had no interest in any of them. And it's like I always liked girls that would like way out of my league, And in hindsight, I look back at that and I go, I think I knew on some level that I wasn't ready for a relationship.
Yes.
And so I didn't want something real.
Right.
And so I would pine for these girls that were just like completely like, I don't want to say out of my league, but they were, not out of my league, but girls that were like outside of my friend group and just people that I would have no business being with.
Right. It was a fantasy versus like
yes.
the girl down the street that you could actually have a relationship with.
Exactly.
Like I have mentioned in high school, there was this girl, Erica Yankovitz, but they called her Erica Yankertits. She also had bodacious tatas. And her boyfriend, she and her boyfriend were very serious. I wouldn't be surprised. I would imagine they're married. And his license plate frame said, Erica and tennis, my two great loves.
Oh.
I know. And I looked at this couple because I was like, I probably had pictures of River Phoenix on my wall. And I mean, I was so young, but it's like they were having a very adult relationship that involved getting personalized license plate frames.
Yeah.
They were both attractive, but not unattainably attractive. Like they just were somehow ready for whatever version of actual relationship that was. Whereas I was years away from being ready for that. For me, I had crushes on movie stars or maybe like the most popular guy in school who was almost like a celebrity at school. That was the unattainable thing I would set myself up for.
Yeah, totally. And for me, it was, I knew that I wanted to get the fuck out of Tucson. And so, I didn't, and so I just didn't want to be rooted by anything or anybody.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a little bit before, but you came across with me. I just marveled at the way that I didn't feel responsible for your emotions.
Uh-huh.
That was the last time I ever felt that way with you.
Yeah. This is the beginning.
And I felt that unlike other relationships where I felt pressure, or not relationships, but other dating situations where I felt pressure and I felt like I don't know how I feel about this person and I don't want to hurt them. And it's too much and it's pushing me away. I'm like, I'm just going to be done with it because it just felt too, I couldn't figure out whether I was attracted to them or not because I felt too responsible or like I felt trapped or I don't know. I didn't feel any of that with you. I had a lot of freedom to just get to know you without feeling like, because women, there's this, and I guess maybe men, everyone really, but this thing of like, if I don't return this person's feelings, what if they like get angry at me and there's this weird sort of like retaliatory yucky energy coming at me and I would like to avoid that at all costs. Like I in general always want to avoid any sort of like aggressive vibes or anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that at all with you. And I remember saying to my sister, like, either he's truly confident in himself or he knows how to fake it really well. So which was it though? Because certainly when you met me, you were like dazzled. And
well, what do you think? You've known me for a little while now.
A little while. I've gotten to know you over the years. What do I think was really happening?
Well, you asked the question. Am I this or that?
Yeah, I think. Well, it's not going to be the like the sunny answer. Actually, that I wish it could be. I'm taking a stab and I'm answering off the top of my head because I would really like to know strategically what was going on with you. But I actually think, okay, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I think that you have been hurt enough in life. You had been hurt enough in life as a young person that you hold everything inside a bit and you don't go hard for things in a way that is going to like leave you vulnerable or open. So until it's like safe to do so. So what I was reading as confidence is actually a defensive posture, probably. Does that feel right?
It's not wrong. I think that, although I mean,
it worked well though.
But I do feel
you put yourself out there with me, but not in a way where there was like no turning back if I didn't return your feelings.
Like, I think that in terms of the way that I make myself available emotionally, that's true. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, by that point in my life, at some point in my early 30s, I think, maybe it happened like right at the end of my 20s, around when I turned 30. I think it's like everything clicked in my brain as far as like who I was, just feeling like in relationship to women. And I think, how do I put this? I think I'd had enough experiences of like, just traumatic, whatever, just being an idiot. And something clicked, and I started to just feel like, I don't know, like I felt attractive. Like I felt,
you had confidence.
Yeah, like I felt like, look, and also just I didn't feel like, oh, I need this. Mm-hmm. And so it's that combination of like, yeah, if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, that's fine.
Like the ideal. That's how you hope to be.
Right. Like I just, at that point, it was
real.
Chill about how this was going to go. And I felt like, I know that I've got something to offer. And so either she's going to be attracted to me and this is going to work out, or it's not. And, there's, other women out there and I would meet them or whatever. Like, so I think that's kind of what you were dealing with. Yeah, there's something about being young where you feel like, oh, this is everything.
Yeah.
If this doesn't happen, I'm going to be, and then you get older, you realize like, it's cliche, but it's like, there's lots of people out there. Mm-hmm. The feeling that this is the only, you only feel that way because your world is small. Mm-hmm. So the antidote to that is if you're feeling really focused on a person that you're not in a relationship with, different, yeah, obviously if you're in a relationship, but if you're not in a relationship, it's like, or then broaden your world. Mm-hmm. However, whatever situation your life is, whatever age you are, like figure out a way naturally, in a way that is an outgrowth of your character and your interests and things like that, to broaden your world and then bring more fish into the fucking lake. You know what I mean? Like you'll find that the more there are, it's like a supply and demand thing. I don't know, whatever.
I think that's good advice. So listen, what a lot of people want to let me know is you had some harsh words for Stassi's husband, Bo. Stassi and Bo, sort of a Vanderpump Rules, because he is very Italian and he changed his name.
You wouldn't know it.
You would, though, apparently, because a lot of people wrote in to let me know, please tell Daniel that they are very Italian with their daughter. Like, so your allegation was that he is trying to be very waspy because he changed his name to
Bo Clark.
Yeah.
Their daughter's name is Hartford. Mm-hmm.
And their son's name is like Messer or something. I forget what their son's name is.
But his real name is like Sergio Benedici or something like that.
But they speak Italian to her at home. And they got married in Rome, and they talk about having dual citizenship. So apparently they're like having a real Italianate experience.
It doesn't change how I feel, but because it's all about how he's projecting himself to the world. Yes, I know his mom's Italian. Like, I understand that he knows he's Italian. He has his own. Listen, my family, my Italian family, like, they eat Italian food.
But
they know they're fucking Italian.
But
everything they project to the world, it's all about making the rest of the world think that they aren't Italian.
Well,
and that's the part. That's the part.
It sounds like, I hear what you're saying. It sounds like from what people are saying when they're writing in, he's not trying to be not Italian. Yes, he changed his name.
Why did he change his name?
I don't know. Did he want to be an actor?
Yeah, but so what? There's plenty,
I know. I don't know. But I'm saying at home, they're not trying to hide their affinity for Italian culture and for being Italian at all. That's what everyone wanted you to know.
Except he has a fucking hard-on for this waspy New England.
Is it him or is it her? I know that Bo Clark, but I mean, who knows how they decided to name their children?
Obviously, this touches a nerve for me.
Clearly.
Because of my family. So
yeah.
I don't know Bo at all. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other about this guy and how he's lived his life. It all has to do with my own family. And I just don't like, when I see that, I don't like it. But, look, maybe he changed his name, because he thought it would be more marketable as an actor. That's totally better.
Let's hear a call.
Hi, this is Rich from New Jersey. First time.
Rich has a very sonorous voice. You go, Rich, with your sonorous voice.
The thing I want to say is, Daniel, big Smurf fan from back in the day as well. I know you collected. And I hope your umbilical hernia is doing better. We used to discuss this on Twitter a little bit, but I had been deplatformed. Allison, big fan. I've been listening since day one.
Thank you.
And also when you were on, that show. As far as favorite drop goes, that's real difficult because there are so many to choose from because Chef Jeff did a fantastic job. That is not to slight Tony. It is much like Van Halen having two really good singers, David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar, and I like them both. But my favorite would probably be Greg Heller's because it's awesome. And I'm just over a minute, so this is Rich in New Jersey signing off. Love you guys. Bye.
Thanks, Rich. The house is full of pot smoke!
Let's hear another one.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Rich called back.
Oh.
What's going on?
Hey, it's Rich from New Jersey again. I was just listening to the end of the last Monday episode, and I was just so tickled by the, it's been a delight, and Daniel's, thank you. it just really killed me. I needed that too, you guys.
Wait, thanks. I laughed.
It's been a delight, and Daniel's, thank you. it just really killed me. I needed that too, you guys. Thanks. Have a good one. Oh, okay. Rich from New Jersey. Sure. Got to do it. Got to do the sandwich.
Thank you for the name sandwich. I just want to let everyone know we don't need to compliment Daniel too much.
Yes, we do.
A little goes a long way.
Guys, don't listen to her.
Let's not get carried away.
It doesn't get to my head. It's honestly, we all need to tell each other how we feel. And if you're a huge fan of DQ, just unburden your soul.
I mean, I guess that's what we've really been talking about, hasn't it? I've lost the ability to speak. Okay. Got another call. Something goes sideways in this one, I can tell, because I'm looking at the Google transcript.
Oh, boy.
Also, is it transcript or transcription? Because what? Did you say I don't care?
No, I don't care. Well, when it was transcript, yeah, transcription.
I always think of it as transcription, but you'll see, I don't know if you see it anymore, but it used to be like, for news transcripts, call.
Maybe that's just a shortened version of transcription.
I mean, it must be, but why are we saying transcripts when it's transcription?
News.
Allison, this is Mark in Pittsburgh.
Mark, this is Allison in Burbank.
Big fan since I discovered you on the Corolla show so many years ago, and I have a J-Mo for you. Have you ever gone on a vacation, just a regular summer vacation, but then at the end of the following month, there's some distance and you forget? Oh, God. There goes the fire alarm.
Oh, no.
I'm going to have to call you back.
The fire alarm.
That's the terrible alarm. It's
I
not.
want to hear the whole fire alarm.
It's like, boo.
Watch, you probably can't hear it at all.
No, we can't hear it.
You can
Tiny.
delete this message.
Sounds like a ghost. What about a fire alarm that's just like, boo?
Excuse me. Fire.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I don't want to wake you up, but I'm sorry.
Psst. Are you sleeping? There's a fire. Psst, psst.
It's just, what if it's like Gilly? Sorry.
You are the only person I know who loves Gilly.
I fucking love Gilly.
I remember you doing Gilly from the very beginning of our relationship.
Sorry. Kristen Wiig maybe is the best SN. Like,
she's so good.
Like pound for pound, like just in terms of her and Will Ferrell. Like, yes, Chris Farley was amazing, but like they just had longer. They had more. I don't know. She was so fucking good.
Do your Gilly.
Sorry.
I wish they could see your face.
It's
all right.
Perfect.
Mark called back. Now I'm okay.
Hey, Alison, this is Mark in Pittsburgh. Gone on, say, a typical week-long summer vacation, and then you get back, and at the end of the following month, you have some distance, and you've sort of forgot about that trip, and the bill, you're doing your bills, and you notice that your electric bill and your gas bill are lower by like $10. My first thought is always, woo, I am saving the planet. I am conserving energy. I have a small carbon footprint. All my sacrifices have come to fruition, and I am a good human being helping out all of human being kind. And then 2 seconds later, I realized, no, wait, that was the week that we were in Florida, imbibing in, huge chlorine-filled swimming pools, roller coasters, endless buffets of food, and, and not making the sacrifices that I thought I had made. So nothing like knocking yourself down a few pegs. Just me or everyone. Thanks, Mark in Pittsburgh.
You know how I complimented Rich on his sonorous voice? Mark, are you a radio person? You have a very radio voice, and that's a compliment.
Yeah,
be shocked if you don't do voice work.
I think that we could all conserve water more here if you're living in an area like we do where water's an issue. But when it comes to like burning fossil fuels and shit like that, I'm sorry, but the answer to the problems are not on the individuals.
I know.
It's just not like you can sit there and you can talk about like, I got an energy saving refrigerator and that's, hey, great. Or I got an EV and, we got solar panels. Like, okay, great. But these are not the things they're going to.
But they're a little bit the things. I mean, you're
not.
right.
These are.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's like with recycling. Recycling was something pushed by the oil companies. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here, but this is actually true. Recycling was something pushed by the oil companies in the 80s in order to get people to think that it's on the individual, so that people wouldn't look to the people who are really the problem, which is the fucking fossil fuel industry.
Right.
No, it's because you didn't recycle. You're not recycling enough. That's the problem. Oh, well, planet warmed up 3 degrees. I guess you should have recycled more.
Yeah.
It's like
easy litter bug.
We could all recycle the maximum amount. It wouldn't make a fucking any difference.
Yeah.
It is, especially relative to the damage that those companies do. So it's just like.
Well, on that happy note, I think that, but the question, do you ever, when you're doing your bills, go like, oh, hey, look at me. And then you realize it's because you weren't there. I'm sure that's happened.
Oh, yeah. Well,
we had a mysterious increase in our water bill. So we were really going over that with a fine-tooth comb, trying to figure out, our water bill. And then also our I don't know.
No, it was our water.
Yeah. And what did it turn out to be? Oh, it was our sprinklers.
Somehow the schedule for our sprinklers, I think our gardener came in and like futzed with it. So
basically, you can't have lawn in Burbank that looks lush unless you're illegally watering.
I mean, I'll just say this. I grew up in Tucson, and I was a landscaper in fucking Tucson, and for a while. And, there's very little grass you're mowing as a landscaper in Tucson.
What
it's
are you
mostly
doing? Pulling leaves?
Yeah, like a
Weeds,
lot of front yards and stuff are in there are much more in tune with the environment. Like cactus and mesquite trees.
I want like a garden in
stuff like that.
Provence.
And yes, there were lawns, but like it's not like it is here. I think people came to this area from the fucking East Coast and they want their lawns as though they're still living in New Jersey. And this is the desert. People understand that in Arizona, or at least in Tucson, much more than they do here. Here, so everybody has their, we're us included. Everyone has their lawns here. Well, this is not a place where you should be having a lawn, and I think it's starting to change. Like, you look around and people are starting to convert to more
rocky terrain.
Honestly, plants that are native can be really pretty. Like the Santa Barbara sort of look, it's more Tuscan, can be really cool looking. So
my friend Trevor is always talking about native pollinators. We're switching to native pollinators. I think if we want help with native pollinators, he can help. And that sounds good. And then I'm like, oh, you know what native pollinators means? A fuck ton of bees.
I know, but the bees are good. The bees don't want to fuck with you.
You can't say in the same way you can't.
There's the occasional psycho bee.
That's what I'm saying, Daniel. In the same way you can't say all bees are bad. You can't say all bees are good.
No, all bees are good. The ones you don't want are like the hornets and the fucking wasps. But
how is? I'm right though, right? Native pollinators means come grab our flowers.
Butterflies are native pollinators.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That means you're not sure.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Who is helping the flowers have sex? Is it bees? Is it flies? Is it all of them? Like the birds and I guess it's birds. Oh, it's birds because they're shitting seeds.
Why is it the birds?
I've always wondered because
it should be the flowers and the bees. Because
birds and the bees. It took me a long time to realize, birds and bees have no relationship to each other.
Yeah, are like if I'm telling you this, if I'm sitting my kid down and telling them that birds, am I telling them that birds and bees fuck?
It's like saying I'm going to tell them the story of like the penis and the fallopian. No, it's not even like that.
No, it's not like that.
It's
at
like
all.
the penis and the bees.
Yeah, no, it should be like the bees and the flowers.
I'm just going to Google birds and the bees and just see if anyone else is wondering why it's this.
Maybe they're two different stories. There's like the bird version of the story and the bees version of the story. Although I don't know what the bird version of the story is.
I think both the birds and the bees is explaining how flower. I have no idea. Okay,
but
let's see.
Birds don't pollinate.
Yeah, they do.
They do?
Yeah, because they eat fruit and then they shit seeds. I'm serious. And that spreads it around.
But how does that teach you anything about sex?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's not helpful. According to tradition, the birds and the bees is a metaphorical story sometimes to explain the mechanics and result of sexual intercourse through reference to easily observed natural events. For instance, bees carry and deposit pollen into flowers, a visible and easy to explain parallel to fertilization. It doesn't have to do with anything I said. Female birds laying eggs is a similarly visible and easy to explain parallel to ovulation. Another interpretation of the bird laying the egg is childbirth, although that is not as common. Everything I just said, take it back. I really thought it had to do with
shitting seeds.
Yes. Word sleuths William and Mary Morris hint that it may have been inspired by words like these from the poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. He came up when we were talking about the albatross. All nature seems at work. The beads are stirring, birds are on the wing. And I, the while, the sole unbusy thing, not honey make, nor pair, nor build, nor sing, nor masturbate. I didn't expect it to go that way.
Jesus Christ.
It's not really in there. Wait, did you think that was real?
I don't know.
Yeah, not really understanding why they call it that exactly.
Well,
I'm gonna keep looking. I'm not ready to hang this one up yet. Why is it called the bird? Because bird in some languages refers to that. Now we're talking about the middle finger, refers to the male genitals. Flip in this context means to throw. So, when you give someone the middle finger, are the fingers down here meant to be balls? See, I'm giving you the middle finger.
Maybe that helps. But no, I just think it's just like, it's just a dick. Like, it can be enhanced.
But is it a dick and balls?
It can be, but it doesn't have to be. The important part isn't the balls. The important part is the dick.
But are we all understanding those to be balls down there?
Yeah, sure. Sometimes.
Thanks.
This isn't science. Okay.
Is it not though? Patreon.com/Alison Rosen.
Patreon.
Sign up. Normally by now you would have heard a number of ads. Also, one of my dear patrons, Alexis Chen, recommended that I do the following, and I am just going to really lean into it. You guys are getting a premier ad-free experience that other premium and premium. This is white label. When we talked about wet concrete without dog prints. I mean, this is that. This is like, do you know for other podcasts and other networks and things, you'd have to pay.
This is like
to get what I'm giving you for free.
This is like when you go to Japan and you buy fruit, it's like $1,000 for a strawberry.
I didn't know that.
Because it's just like the perfect strawberry.
Okay.
That's what this is.
This is $1,000. Yes, exactly. Which is why I'm going to ask you to pay for it in a moment.
This has been the perfect podcast. This episode, you may be thinking, listening, like it sounded like a meandering mess, like a low energy, rambling.
Right. The chemistry between the two of them is questionable.
Yes.
The vibes were off.
But in actual fact, it was the perfect podcast.
It was the perfect podcast, right? And normally you would have to, do you know how much you would have to pay to receive this perfect podcast?
Thousands
upon thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Usually it's like a subscription inside of a subscription.
Yes.
You have to like...
it's a turducken of subscriptions.
Yes.
A Russian nesting doll of subscriptions.
But we've made it free.
We're giving it to you for free for a limited time, God willing, for a limited time. Because before long, ads will be back, I am told. But what that means is this podcast is truly a labor of love. And if you would like to support it, which I hope you will, patreon.com/Alison Rosen. Now, if you're not in a position to do that, that's fine. Leave a review, tell a friend. Comment on my social media. That helps with engagement.
If you can't afford it, listen guilt-free. If you can afford it,
listen with some guilt.
Guiltily.
Yes. Beautiful. It's beautiful. And there's other ways to support as well. There's also merch and my Substack, my newsletter, where I am writing away like a busy beaver that has a Substack, AlisonRosen.substack.com. Get to all this at Linktree. I also think I have a tip jar enabled on Linktree. I can't remember if I did that or not. Ghost, really?
I don't think it's like a beaver who had a Substack because you are not writing about dams.
You're right. That's what a beaver would write, don't you think? But eventually, I feel like a beaver would start writing about discovering it was Jewish.
I mean,
like, obviously, like
I would definitely
if you give
subscribe.
1,000 monkeys 1,000 typewriters, eventually one of them's going to write King Lear or something. What is it?
Infinite monkeys. Infinite typewriters.
Oh, that makes so much more sense because I was sitting here thinking,
it's not 1,000.
I was sitting here thinking,
1,000
really,
monkeys are not going to write King Lear.
I was thinking that seems grossly under. That's a small number. Okay. Well, if you give infinite monkeys infinite laptops, let's bring it into the now. I guess they'll write King Lear.
Sure.
Infinite beavers with Substacks. One of them's going to start writing what I'm writing, and that's me.
True.
I'm the beaver who writes.
We are in the reality in which that beaver writes this Substack
for a limited amount of time. How lucky we truly are.
Yep.
Because you could exist in some other spot on the multiverse.
By the way,
you wouldn't get my Substack.
I didn't love that movie, Everything Everywhere. I didn't love it. I'm sorry.
Are you shortening it in the same way people say like, "Oh, I went to South by."
Yeah.
Really? You went to South by
I'm
Southwest?
trying to be cool.
Everything, everywhere. Why didn't you love it? Yeah, I know.
It was silly. I felt it didn't land its emotional points well enough because it was too caught up in its like goofiness.
Can I share something with you?
And it was fun.
What kind
but it
of
was
goofy?
Light.
What kind of goofy? Like the kind of goofy that I was based on?
That you were based on?
I mean, that was based on me?
No, not like Goofy the character. No, it was like
just a callback.
It's smart. Thank
you.
No, it was just
Thank
silly.
you.
Like it was like they kind of understood that. Look, the idea of this is silly, so we're not going to try to like oversell it. We'll just have it be kind of ridiculous, and the multiple realities were kind of ridiculous. But I think that ended up undercutting any kind of. It kind of also wanted to have an emotional punch, and it's like they were working at cross purposes. It didn't.
Just didn't.
Yeah, that's tough to pull off, and it didn't work for me. But it worked for a lot of people, so whatever. But just not for me.
Okay, and I am going to share something with you, which is Joel Stein, frequent guest of the show, has a Substack, and he was writing in his Substack today. He mentioned that something, it was just sort of an offhand thing, but it was about how like there was a name that he wanted for his son, and then he and his wife started to worry that it would be mocked and in a way that because it sounds too much like something. And he received as a gift from this guy one of those stools with the letters that come out like we have that says Smesticles. So my comment was, okay, but what name rhymes with Smesticles? And people keep liking my comment, but no one's telling me. But can you think of any male name that like rhymes with Smesticles?
What is happening right now?
What's happening right now?
Wait, are you saying that you don't know? Like you're thinking Smesticles is the bad word, and you're trying to think of a name
that like rhymes with this.
That rhymes with it?
Yeah, except that in the course of sharing this, I'm realizing that was probably a euphemism.
No, they're saying the joke, I think, is that the name that would be mocked is Smesticles. Because obviously...
Oh, duh! Oh, my God. Oh, so they're just liking it like you'd like a dumb child. Like, yes, oh, how sweet.
Look at this.
Maybe do they think I'm making the joke?
What was your comment again?
Okay, but what name rhymes with Smesticles? Maybe they think I'm being silly.
Funny. That's still funny because it's as though this person thinks that Smesticles is something. You could make that joke if you understood the joke too.
Okay,
it's just that you didn't. It's just that you didn't understand the joke.
I thought he was saying that his friend is a dick because his point is his friend's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And did his friend get them a stool, or is that part of the joke? Did his friend even get the stool with this?
I doubt it. That's a lot of letters for a stool.
Yeah.
Sounds like a joke to me. If I were to bet,
I feel so dumb.
Well, it doesn't read as dumb.
I gotta find it now. We had to end this episode, but okay, and I'll read it. Alan Maneker, a retired neurosurgeon, said that he strictly played classical music and never started until the patient was asleep. And this was coming from a guy who isn't overly serious. I know this because when I wrote in a column that I was worried that I'd accidentally picked a name for our baby that kids would mock via rhyme, he sent me a step stool with removable block letters that spelled out Smesticles. I get it. I think he actually did receive the stool, but I think Alan Maneker, the neurosurgeon, was making a joke.
Right.
Does my dumb comment still work?
Your comment being what rhymes with Smesticles?
Yeah. It sounds like I'm being facetious.
Yes.
But I was being serious. Okay. glad we got that squared away. I would like to thank everyone for joining us. Daniel, thank you.
You're welcome.
Let them know whatever.
No.
At Daniel Quantz, wherever. Sure. Sometimes he does stuff. Subscribe to my YouTube. I'm going to start tubing again. YouTube.com. You know, everything's in my link tree, and you can get to that by going to Alison'sLinks.com. Click through. I've got, all the Podcast Pals product picks.
Alison slinks.
That's right. Alison slinks.
She does.
Thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show? We had a good time